It is Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. Happy New Year, Juice and Al. Oh, and Timmy. Maybe Andy's gone.
Hello, everybody. That was a mistake.
Classic Timmy Stefchek mistake. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of the hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, for podcast number 219 by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, folks.
We got Allison live. We appreciate him and Walt, who love to chat along. Oh, no, Wolves are about to start. Talk to me. When are the basketball playoffs? Like February? April? I don't know. Talk to me then. But yeah,
and they still have more games in an NFL season.
Yeah. Discord's cool. Otherwise, at Levi Oak Illustration's cool. And Josh, you're cool. How you doing, buddy?
Huh. I am a-doing. It's a beautiful Friday.
Friday
by
for
Friday,
you?
I mean Tuesday.
Oh,
no, not Friday for me. I wish. It was icy outside, so that's pretty cool. Got to work from home. And that was pretty cool. Going into the office tomorrow and Thursday, though, not pretty cool.
Gotcha. I mean, you have a hybrid schedule. You work from home pretty regularly, right? So
3 days a week. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Does it feel like a new year for you? It's 2026. I know as you get older, the changing of the calendars and the birthdays and all the arbitrary numbers start to mean as less. But any resolutions or anything like that for you or the larger Mitchell household?
No, not really. Just turn the calendar and grumble a little bit because now it's like regular season football is over. It's just not fun. It's not how you want to start a new year. You want to start a new year with good things, not no things.
Aren't Packers in the playoffs? Isn't that pretty good?
What the hell?
That's how you're starting your
year. We'll get to that. Are they, Gar?
I mean, yeah, they are in the playoffs. Will they succeed in the playoffs? Is certainly a much different question, but they are very factually in the playoffs. We'll talk about real football in a second here, but no real resolutions for you and Nikita or anything. I think last year she tried to do like no spend January or something. So I don't know if.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not on the table anymore. 6 days in, if that was a goal this year. I guess no, I don't do the whole resolution thing. If I want to have something done and I want to change something, I'm going to do it any day of the year. I'm not going to just do it because the first of the year came around.
Sure. You're not constrained by the false walls of the calendar. You do stuff when you want to do stuff.
Yeah, it's like I told the fatties when they came into GNC and they're like, "Yeah, I'm starting a New Year's resolution on January 1st. I need to lose weight," and just kind of stare at them blankly and go, "There's a first in every month," and just let them know, you can do this whenever you want, bud. Don't have to do it in January 1st. Don't have to come in when it's snowing and I want to get out of here and you're dragging your muddy feet in after I just mopped. It's 8:49 and we close at 9, meaning I close the door at 8:51. Sorry, I go back in time.
This GNC trauma is really, New Year's trauma is really, I do suppose that probably, what would we think? GNC, health-related places and gyms are probably some of the worst places to work in January. What else can we think of? Like, obviously retail is terrible in December, gyms in January. Any other places that's terrible to work for things like that?
No, but I could tell you that like come January 16th or February 1st, liquor stores and fast food joints are probably popping off.
For the people that just couldn't quite make it.
Yep. Yeah,
the fact they gave it to January 16th is respectable. I would say January 8th, but
yeah, we had a few good like one-liners that we used on repeat at GNC. Always like I need to lose 20 pounds by spring break, and spring break's in March and it's February, and so Rob, the manager, would always go, "Yeah, there's a hardware store down the road. I can go get a saw real quick and we could take one of your arms because that's the only way it's going to happen."
Jesus.
Heard that one a few times.
Sure. And was that good for business? Did you find those people came back regularly, or was that just back? That was behind the
Nope, that
shells.
was to their face. See, a lot of times those people were looking for the $20, $15, $20 thing that's going to be the miracle thing. So they usually either took offense to it and then they didn't spend the money and we didn't care, or
Sure.
they were those college kids that knew better than everybody else.
Oh,
and
sure.
then they just said, "Yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong," and so then they spent money.
Trust me, I've already done my own research. I know exactly what I need. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Oz. Yeah, well,
What was that? That you mean the guy that now runs Medicare? Ugh. What was that thing that was on? We obviously, I'm sure you listened to KDWB plenty, like I did growing up. What was that thing that we're always hawking on, like Dave around the morning shows? Like, it was essentially just a green tea pill, but Steve-O took it a lot. Healthy Trim or something like that. I don't know. That's what it makes me think of. Take this pill and you're miracle you lose weight. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, I've heard it all. Raspberry ketones, acai berry, whatever you want to call it. It's just, yeah. We even had a Kim Kardashian line, and when people came in and said they wanted to buy that, it's like, do you really think this works? If they had to pay money for Kim Kardashian to put her face on it, do you really think this works? And really, it's just sugar water.
Hey, if GNC could start selling GLP-1s over the counter, business would be booming. Anyways, do you want to talk about football now, or we can talk about weight loss for another 10 minutes? I don't care.
I thought we were a fitness podcast.
Oh, yeah, the Fitness Fix. That's us.
Yep. Because we're going to be talking about how Green Bay Packers are going to be fitness all these Super Bowl trophies in their trophy room. Yep. Podcast over. Good night.
Shut it down, folks. We had a good 219.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So we can get to the Homer's highs and the Homer does, because we did play each other this week from what I gathered at the box score.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, a football game happened between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Major implications on the line.
Huge.
Lots of starters played for the green team. Yep. That horn probably blared 1,000 times more than it needed to. Gar, I think you went first last week, so I can go first now.
Do it.
Packer high. We didn't get shut out because the Minnesota Vikings are a terrible franchise, run by terrible people, coached by a terrible person. They couldn't even shut us out. Playing our third strings. Clayton Tune, it got a little bit Looney Toony on you guys, driving up and down the field and then just, letting it not score. And then, obviously we lost the game. The Packers dough. I see you filled one in for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We are a poverty franchise. Can't even throw a pick to Hitman. No, I think that it just says that Hitman will is a poverty player because he couldn't intercept Clayton Tune, who threw for 34 yards.
Clay. How come LaFleur wasn't calling a fucking, Cliff Kingsbury-esque air raid offense? That's what we needed. Very selfish of you guys to just run the clock out and get out of there, trying to not have another player leaving crutches, dude.
That's kind of what the thing was, and it turns out, another player did leave, not necessarily in crutches, but I don't know what happened to JJ. But you can go ahead and share your highs and lows.
Yeah, I didn't leave on crutches, but Vikings high. A little sarcastic here, but Vikings have pick 18, so our future's secure. So glad we ripped off 5 wins to end the season. I understand why you want to do it for morale and all these different things, but now we don't even have a top half pick. So okay, cool. I'm not sure what that's going to do for us. Certainly, I'm probably not that we're going to pick a quarterback realistically anyways, but certainly not going to get one there. I very strongly envision a trade back there unless we take, which is a really good player available that slides out of the top 10 or something. But that's our high. Our draft pick is solidified. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know if it counted as a high. Harry had a great career. Both him and CJ Ham had good locker room speeches. Are these the highs we want for a weeks? I don't know. Al says Jeremiah love to the Vikes. I'm not sure who that is. My
Top
dynasty. Oh, gotcha. My dynasty brain has not been turned on yet. Talk to me in February. I'll be all over it. But yeah, Vikings low. Another game that JJ McCarthy couldn't finish. and that is not inspiring. I would call myself unimpressed. I don't know. We're going to bring in competition. If I were to, place a $100 bet today, I would bet good money that JJ McCarthy is the starter next year, regardless of who is brought in, or regardless of how the competition and or air quote competition goes. I think he's going to start next year, and I think Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi are all tied to his success or failure. If JJ McCarthy has a really bad year next year, I could see the house being cleared, but hard to know, hard to tell. We'll see. We're strapped on cap space. I could definitely see Aaron Jones departing or being restructured or something. There's a bunch of unrestricted free agents coming up that are, more so like special teams or depth guys. I think the Vikings would be pretty wise to trade Addison at this point while he has some value. Not that I want to see Addison go. Addison's a good player. I'm not saying he's not worth it, but there's still 2 years of team control under Addison right now. And if we need to get a couple more pieces for this team, Addison, I think, is a sellable asset versus having to pay him, I don't know, upwards of $20 million plus a year when he gets his second contract, assuming he continues to play at the same level. So, woofda. And I, in my little dream wish list here for the Vikes in the offseason, I would really love to see a new O-line coach. Haven't heard any news of any firings of Vikings depth coaches yet. I'm sure that's not as high a priority as like the coordinators and stuff, but I don't know. Our O-line their obviously health was a big factor as well, but something tells me that we need a new O-line coach in town, and maybe some other pieces as well. But those are my hopes and dreams. Less of a high and a dough, but that's how I feel. Josh, going back to the Pack, who do the Packers even fucking play? They play
the Bears.
They played the Bears. How are we feeling about the matchup this weekend?
We got them right where we want them.
Is that so?
Yeah, we could say that we should have won both games against the Bears. Obviously, a little bit of a snafu on the special teams. Something that, as a Packers fan, I'm used to seeing every year. Snafus on special teams and defense.
Hey, Harbaugh's available. He's supposed to be a good special team coach.
Yep. Nope. He's gonna go to Oakland or Las Vegas because I want to see him play his brother 2 times a year. I'm a sucker for the classics. What can I say?
I'm so excited for the San Diego Chargers this playoffs as well.
Yep. Yeah. Duh. I'm just sad that the Baltimore Colts couldn't make it.
Right. They were close.
Mm-hmm. But I do think that he's going to be a top candidate. Sal is probably going to be a top candidate. Flores is probably going to be a top candidate. Kingsbury is going to be a candidate. I wouldn't be opposed to kicking the tires on Big Mike McCarthy, see if he knows something about special teams.
Oh, shit. I bet his play card sheet would be impressive.
You mean his Denny's menu?
Bingo. Are there that many special teams plays? You never know.
Run, kick, return left, kick, return right, tuck back.
Kick return at a 45-degree angle, kick return at a 44-degree angle, kick return at a 33-degree angle. But yeah, realistically, for transitioning away from the Pack of the Vike here a little bit, going more broadly. First, do you want to try and predict any of the head coach? You don't necessarily have to connect the head coaches to the vacancies, though you can if you want. A lot of smoke right now for Brian Flores reuniting with Tom Brady in Las Vegas, not Oakland, but so you mentioned Solly, you mentioned Flores. Who do you think are going to be some of these? There's 7 vacancies I think right now. Who are going to be some of these new head coaches, you think?
I think Kingsbury is going to come back. Sal is probably going to come back, and Flores. Those are kind of the big 3 there. I'm sure that there'll be 1 or 2 just out of left field that nobody expects, similar to the Liam Cohen. But we'll see. And that's probably going to be what the Giants do. Just pull someone out of left field.
It's just a Reddit headline, but allegedly Harbaugh is currently the favorite for the Giants, which would be interesting. The other interesting part, of course, is, I know teams want to get their head coaches now, and there's already some available, but also there's a big push after or during after the playoffs, I guess, during the playoffs, however you want to put it. But for coordinators on winning teams, like obviously KOC came from the Super Bowl winning Rams, right? And so it'll be a matter of, do they want to secure their guy now, or are they going to wait to hope to get one of the coordinators from a playoff team? And to be honest, right now, I don't know that I could even name many of the coordinators from the playoff teams other than Saleh. I have no idea who the OC for the Eagles are, or the Rams, or the Panthers. Yeah, I couldn't name any of these OCs. Mike McDaniels is not, Mike McDaniels. He's not going to get another head coaching job, so I don't have to worry about him. I couldn't name any of these OCs really, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on out there, but it's interesting. I feel like you said, there's a couple defensive favorites, but in a league that's been so offensive driven, I really feel like it's pretty up in the air. Other thing, Josh, the dynasty. Do we feel like the dynasty era is over and we're fully supplanted in the parity era now? Obviously, Tom Brady retired. The Chiefs missed the playoffs. Most of the household name playoff teams ended up not making it. Do we think this is just a flash in the pan year and we'll get back to the dynasty era that has pretty much existed our whole lives? Or do we think, with the fucking Broncos and the Seahawks being the number one teams, are we firmly in the parity era now? The para, if you will.
So I think the Pats are back.
Ooh, the Pats, huh?
I think we only had 4 years off of that, or whatever it was, 5 years, and now, because their defense is pretty solid. They've got Drake May, who's a very solid quarterback. All they got to do is and then they Travion Henderson. They drafted their O-line last year, so I don't know. They've been down too long. I think they need to come back.
Okay, so you think this year is kind of a one-off and a dynasty is about to be reestablished in New England. Any other dynasties, or just that one firmly?
That Green Bay team, they're pretty solid. They just need to get over those injuries.
Is the Green Bay dynasty under Jordan Love or under Malik Willis?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Josh thinks we're not quite in the parity era and that New England is about to resupplant itself. All right. Any other playoff matchups you excited for? Or do you want to just talk about some of the 272 or the fantasy stuff?
We can do the 272 because the playoff stuff. I don't know. I'm excited for Green Bay, but at the same time, I'm also tempering expectations because I know that it's not likely going to be a good finish for them.
Sure. All right. Well, I did. You can see, Josh, obviously you can see that I linked the 272 from last year. Obviously do not need to go in depth, but mostly just linking it to see, you could quickly compare how you did last year to how you did this year. So I guess I'll go first. Looking at the 272 from last year, in the week-to-week scores, I was about 59% accurate week-to-week on average. And my total differential, so taking the real wins and then using like the absolute value away from those wins, I was 102 wins off last year. Of course, when there's 32 teams, that's a number that's ran up. But 102 total difference last year. My best conferences were here. The AFC South and the AFC East. I really nailed last year. Moving on to this year, I'll talk more about the teams in a second, but my total differential was 98, so I've down that a couple. But my average is a little bit less this year. I said it was about 59. Week to week last year, it dropped to 57.5 this year, while my median remained the same at about 59%. Last year, I had 4 teams exactly right. I had Green Bay, the Rams, Miami, and Tampa Bay. And then this year, I only had 2 teams, the Rams again, which I guess I just really love Sean McVay, and then Pittsburgh were the only 2 teams I nailed. I got their win-loss exactly correct. So that's just a quick snapshot. I won't ramble here forever, but that's a quick snapshot about how I did, and then we'll talk about more of the teams in a second, but I feel self-conscious about how much I've talked. Josh, how'd you do this year? How's it compared to last year? And then we'll dive in a little bit deeper.
Well, last year my average was 57% about on the week to week, with a total difference of 108. So yeah, like you said, and then my My median was 52.94. My best division was the AFC South. And so other division, I think the next closest one was like the AFC North, and then the NFC East and AFC West. So yeah, but the AFC South last year was by far the best one. Going on to this year, once my computer loads, because yeah.
I'll vamp while I
Oh,
fucked up. I was looking at your sheet for this year. So actually, my average dropped about 5%. I went from like 59 to 54. So I was looking at the wrong sheet. I was trying to take credit for Josh's week-to-week accuracy, but no, this man's better than me. And my total differential actually went up 4 games. I'm 4 games worse than last year, so fuck me. But it looks like you're in now.
yeah, because this year I was my average was 57.5%. So
Right.
not as good as last year for me, right? I'm trying to. Nope, I did a little bit better. 57% last year, 57.5 this year. I'm moving on up. My median this
Ladies.
year was 58.82. So even better with that one. Correct. Yep, 6% better there. And my total difference this year was 98. So sub 3 dig. My best divisions were the AFC East this year. And then I had a 3-way tie between the NFC North, AFC North, and NFC West.
Nice. Yeah, looking at mine a little bit deeper, my best division was the NFC North. So I think I had skewed away for a year or two, but then coming back this year, I was able to right the ship, and I got honed in back to the home and the rival teams. And so I stole yours. I said that my 2 zeros were the Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was incorrect. My 2 zeros were Atlanta and Philly. So for whatever reason, I was really honed in on some of our NFC rivals. But I was close on Green Bay, the Rams, the Jets, and San Fran. So I had those teams within 1 win. Josh, you had a lot of teams within 1 win, or I guess half a win, because I counted the tie as a half. What do you think it was about all those teams that you were just really close in on?
Probably my energy crystals giving me a good vibe preseason.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yep. Yeah. So you had already mentioned my 0 teams. Those were the Rams and the Steelers. My one kind of differential teams: Buffalo, Green Bay, Indianapolis, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Giants, the Jets, San Fran, and Tennessee. So a lot of it was just I think those teams were either going to be dumpster fires or were going to be kind of just middle of the pack, because I believe I had a lot of teams finish middle of the pack. But yeah, so I think at the halfway point of the season when we did these kind of updates, we were kind of dead even in a lot of these categories, and I had a few more at that 4+ range. But then apparently the teams that I had picked turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give you a little bit credit for Indy, because I think a lot of people had Indy coming into the year as a poverty franchise, and not like you said they were going to be, you didn't have them projected if Daniel Jones would have stayed healthy, but you projected 7 wins, they got 8. So I mean, that one's pretty good. Not that you knew that Daniel Jones would go off and then disappear, but I think you definitely deserve a little credit for. What's that?
Why do you think he got hurt?
Oh no, you had him taken out?
Mayhaps.
Oh no. That's why my worst team was the Washington Commanders. I gave them 13 wins. I thought they were going to ride that high from last year. Of course, the reality was they only got 5 wins. That's tough. I was really off on New England as well. I had New England being a poverty franchise relative to how they did. I only gave them 7 wins. They got fucking 14. That's crazy. But it could be the dynasty, as Josh is predicting them. And then some of my teams that were 6 wins off: Arizona, Baltimore, Chicago, the Jacksonville Jaguars, KC, and Seattle. So I had plenty of teams that I did not do so hot on. Josh beat me in pretty much every metric this year, so that's tough. But we'll go back to the drawing board. We'll see what we can figure out, and we'll come back next year bigger and better than ever. As far as the playoff, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say as far as like proximity, yeah, I had the 10 teams with 1, and then we both had the 2. But when it came to swings and misses, as far as getting multiple wrong, like the 4+ category, I think I had 3 of the top ones. I had a few at 7. Baltimore was 7 games off. Chicago was 7 games off because I will never predict them to have a winning record. Jacksonville 7 games off. Kansas City I had 8 games off because they imploded. But then Seattle, I was 10 games away. I had them going 4-13, and they went 14-3. So
yeah, that's crazy.
yikes.
Okay. Anyways, Josh. So the so the Super Bowl this year is what? Super Bowl 60, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Super Bowl 60. Of course, in the beginning of the season, the whole reason we predict 272 is kind of see where everyone's going to lie for us. I predicted, I won't go through all the teams, but essentially I predicted Buffalo and Tampa Bay to be the Super Bowl matchup. Woof. And I ended up getting 4 of the AFC teams right. I correctly predicted Denver, Houston, Buffalo, and the Chargers to be in the playoffs. And then for the NFC, I only got 3 teams. I correctly predicted Philly, the Rams, and San Fran to represent the NFC in the playoffs. So 4-3 out of 7 ain't bad. 7 out of 14 of the playoff teams I got. Of course, we're doing our brackets, so we might want to not give everything away, or our bracket strategy could be different than what our heart says. But I still like Buffalo for the Super Bowl. Who they're going to play in the Super Bowl is such a toss-up. I mean, my default is to lean on experience, and that would go to the Rams or Philly. But Seattle and Chicago are such dynamic teams. I have no faith in the Panthers. Apologies to them. San Fran's a dark horse as long as, I feel like they're a very streaky team. They're either going to, Brock Purdy's going to play super well, or the team's just going to not, or is going to do very poorly. I have no faith in Green Bay. I apologize. To win the Super Bowl, then maybe they win a game, but I don't know. To me, looking at it right now, based on these 14 teams, I kind of like a Buffalo, Los Angeles Super Bowl maybe. And if someone held a gun to my head and said pick something different, I'd maybe go New England, Chicago or something, or New England, Seattle, something like that. But how do you feel, Josh? I did score your playoff team, so you can see how many you got correct out of what you guessed there on the right. But which teams did you get correct, and how are you feeling about the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, I got 4 in each division, or each conference, I should say. I had Buffalo, Houston, Denver, and the Chargers as my teams in the AFC. And then in the NFC, I had Philly, San Fran, the Rams, and Green Bay. I predicted the Green Bay 7th seed and the Chargers 7th seed because apparently that's just where we live. But yeah, I mean, I missed on the kind of the usual contenders like Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and then in the NFC side, I missed on Tampa Bay, Detroit, and Dallas. Well, I had Philly beating Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and while that could still technically happen, speaky hard. I'm going to take a different strategy when it comes to filling out my bracket, and I'm just going to look at the streaks, and it's going to be like a drawer check, looking for them streaks. But looking at this here, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a current 8-game win streak. They're firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Houston on a 9-game win streak. They're firing on all cylinders. And then we've got the Rams who are 3-3 in their last 6. Chicago, who lost in week 18, but they, it was against the Lions. But then before that, they are in 6-game win streak, or 7-game. No, Chicago lost the last 2 of the season. Sorry. So yeah, they're falling apart. They're probably just sell the franchise. Green Bay lost the last 4 of the season, so they're going in with a win on. They need a win here. They're due. So I think that they lose 4, they win the next 4 probably. Pittsburgh, they're coming in off of a clencher. Call the welder, clench tight, making diamonds. Honestly, I think I have Houston as my dark horse, but also kind of like the team that I'm silently rooting for if it's not the Packers.
Yeah.
I think that would be a possibility. CJ Stroud's been improving his play. Woody Marks has been kind of stepping up as that lead back. And then their defense is just phenomenal. So I could see it coming down to Houston and Denver in the AFC conference. Buffalo, I don't know if they can lean on Josh Allen and James Cook all that much, and to get them there. And so that's just kind of how I feel about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville made it.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as the NFC side.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the NFC side of things, I feel like it's a little bit more of a crapshoot. Seattle's obviously up there because of their 1 seed, but the Rams are, I think, the most powerful offense, and then they have a very solid defense, but they've been very streaky as well this year, and they're playing against their kryptonite in Carolina. So yeah.
Sure, yeah, I was just going to say, back in the AFC, Jacksonville, kind of the team we all predicted they could be, based on Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen last year had the Buccaneers absolutely firing. Baker Mayfield was just throwing the rock around everywhere it could be. And I think, from a Minnesota perspective, considering, it's an AFC South team, people aren't paying as much attention around the league. But I feel like the Jaguars, what did you say, 9 in a row, 8 in a row, whatever it was. I feel like that was very quiet to the average fan. But, I mean, shout out to them for, quietly becoming the team that I think they were capable of. Liam Cohen obviously has fine-tuned Trevor Lawrence, which is what everyone wanted to see, a little bit of a renaissance down there. Will this year be their year? I'm not so convinced, but it's a very exciting team, and obviously Liam Cohen is very talented in scheming an offense, so we'll see what happens down there. All right, Josh. Should we talk about our studs and duds?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just...
and while
I'm just realizing that I may not have pulled this up yet.
It's all good. In the meantime, Al did call out in the chat. He would like to, I don't know if this is real or if he's just trying to make it spicy, but he predicted an LA versus LA Super Bowl. I think that would be exciting. I think that'd be very good for my 7 ships team. I think the Los Angeles Chargers were my only NFL team in the 7 ships league, so I would love to see the Chargers get up there, give me my $100, because I'm obviously going to root for the Chargers over the Rams, but I would love to see an LA versus LA Super Bowl. That'd be sick. I just don't know if Justin Herbert and the Chargers at large are healthy enough to make that push. We will see. Looks like you're into the studs and duds now, Josh.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go first here. So as you guys know, we predict 4 studs and 4 duds each at the skill positions. So, at the main positions for fantasy, I should say, not necessarily skill positions, but quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. We predict 1 stud and 1 dud each at those 4 positions. If they get over their projection, they're technically a stud. If they get under their projection, they're technically a dud, though the numbers may vary, of course. Starting out with my stud quarterback, I very foolishly picked Geno Smith. I thought the reunion with Pete Carroll would be something beautiful down in Las Vegas, and it was not. He was projected 37.4. He ended up scoring only 207.65. So starting right off, that's a negative differential for me of 99.75. That is a rough start, and Geno Smith definitely let me down this year.
My stud quarterback was Michael Penix. It's projected 292.34. He was on a decent pace until he got hurt. Missed, I believe, like more than this last half of the season, but he put up 140.6. So while your negative 99 point differential is sad, my negative 151 is a little bit worse.
That is rough. For running back, I loved Trey Benson this year. He was projected 137.7. He only ever got 31.9. It seems like I don't know what their strength and conditioning coach is doing down there, or their physical rehab staff down there, but fucking the Cardinals might be cursed, dude. It feels like every many positions on their team, specifically running back, we're all banged up all year. So I don't know what's going on down there, but that's another negative 105.8 for me. My stud predictions are not so hot this year. Who'd you have?
I had Quinshon Judkins, the rookie running back for Cleveland. who was only projected 51.34 at the preseason, and he finished with 185.3. So a big bump for me with 133.96 differential.
Nice. At the wide receiver, I had Jaden Higgins. He was projected 150.4. He ended up getting 123, so my second best stud of the year, while still at a negative 27 differential for me. He just never, it seemed like he had his most success when I believe Davis Mills was on the field. It seems like him and Stroud just do not have that chemistry for whatever reason, or at least didn't for most of the season, so I'm disappointed. I really thought Jaden Higgins was going to do big things this year.
Yep, I had Cedric Tillman, another Brown.
Silly.
He was projected 152.76. He finished with 56, so ugly. 100 points under his projection almost. But then again, the entire Browns offense was ugly.
Right. You probably had the brightest spot with Judkins there. Moving on to tight end, I had Tyler Warren. White by Warren, as Carmel likes to call him. He was projected 152.2. He ended up putting up 172, so that is my best start of the year with only a whole whopping, not even plus 20 differential. So like I said, my stud stunk this year. Overall, my stud differential was negative 213.15. It's a shock I didn't win any of my redraft leagues with stud predictions like that.
Yeah, my tight end was Jonnu Smith, who was projected 122.47. He finished with 71.7 for negative 50 points. I may have had Quinshon Judkins as the only positive, or the big positive, but I still finished with negative 165.31. So yeah, no, not very good at picking studs myself.
Dude,
but then again, yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was going to update because I didn't check this earlier, but so I did put in there players that are highlighted in red are players that ended up on IR at some point or missed more than 5 games.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, that two of my stud picks, Cedric Tillman and Michael Penix, they both ended up missing a bunch of games. Trey Benson for you missed a bunch of games. Let's get into the duds. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about what you were probably trying to predict.
Predicting the deads. Yeah, I mean, one more comment before we move on. It's looking back, doesn't the picture seem so much clearer on why you and I were just bitching about fantasy so much to start the year? It's because we just did not have our finger on the pulse of what this fantasy season was going to be. Boy, were we whiffing. Moving on, speaking of whiffs, my dud quarterback, I picked Drake May, because what the fuck do I know? He was projected 330.9. His actual in our Hidden Oaks redraft league on ESPN was 408.9. So that's another negative differential of 78. My spread for quarterbacks was negative 177.75. I just did not have my finger on the pulse of quarterbacks at all this year.
My dud quarterback was Patty Mahomes, who he was projected 375.24. He finished with 331.55. I think he only missed the last 2 games of the season or 3 games. I don't remember.
I have no idea.
But yeah, so he probably would have hit it if he played, or he would have gotten pretty close, is my guess. But he was still 43.69 under, so technically a win in my part.
Right, yeah. He had a couple...
Let's start.
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's get to where you start to pull away in this competition.
You've had the lead up to this point. No, I for whatever reason, Josh, you at one point in time you had the kiss of death when it came to duds, and then I was like, nah, give me that title. James Conner was my dud. He was projected 264.9, and he only ever got 33.9 or 33.8, excuse me. So to my point about these Cardinals players, so that's a differential swing for me of 231.1. So that was huge for me. Shout out to James Conner. That was my single biggest differential. To Josh's point of starting to pull away in the game. So shout out to him. Obviously I'm never going to cheer for James Conner getting hurt, but for the purpose of this game, I love you for just taking that sideline stand the rest of the year.
My dud running back was Ashton Genty, who played all season. He was projected 316.8. He finished with 245.1. So he did get me 71.7 points. Not quite 231 points, but he did play all year.
Yeah, the Genty hype. I didn't really understand why the Genty hype was quite so high. Like, obviously, amazing college running back, but he was projected at his absolute ceiling in terms of points, in terms of ADP. and he was just never going to return value there. So I feel bad for the people that were grabbing him. My dud wide receiver was Tyreek Hill, future porn star himself, Fortnite streamer extraordinaire. He was projected 246.6, and he only ever got 51.5. He ended up getting banged up. That's another almost 200-point swing for me of 195.1. So my wide receivers were plus 167.7 for me on the year. How about you, Josh?
My dead wide receiver was Amon Ra, strictly because I drafted him in a league for the first time. He was projected 264.9. He put up 300.5. So negative 35.6. So not quite a dud there, but yeah.
All right. Lastly, for me, Brock Bowers, tight end. And there was some, a little controversy right at the end there. He was potentially banged up, and he did end up missing some games. But he was projected 237.6. He only ever got 162.2, so that's another positive 75 for me. My tight ends were plus 95.2. And to Josh's point, the duds were where I pulled away. I had a negative 213 differential on my studs, but my duds, I just knew who to avoid. On over 400-point positive differential for me. So overall this year in the game, I scored 210.45 thanks to duds like Bowers.
Yeah, he missed 3 games earlier in the year, and then he had the last 2 games of the season he missed. But yeah,
that works out for me.
He would have hit his projection if he played though, my guess is. But you still called it. And then my dud was TJ Hawkinson. Mr. Droppinson himself. He was projected 164.45. He finished with 98.3. 66.15 netted me. So while I didn't quite win, I did project duds that played. I had 3 pretty decent duds that played all year. For the most part, I think Mahomes missed 2 games. But yeah, my net was negative 19.37. So if we were trying to play closest to pin, I got pretty close.
Shout out, Josh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you,
I think this is like the 4th consecutive year you beat me on this.
Yeah, you had to change the rules and everything, but I just adapted. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Here I am, baby. Anywho,
yeah, sick.
There's a bunch of players here off to the right that I listed. That doesn't really matter for anyone else. It's just my own curiosity. But similar to the studs and duds game, I was way better at predicting players I should avoid instead of players I should have drafted. So if anyone wants advice from me next year on players I'm avoiding, let me know. Apparently I've got the inside hand or the inside scoop. Otherwise, yeah, don't take my advice on who to go after. I'm sure you want to get out of here, Josh. We've done our studs and duds. We've done our 272. Real quickly, Walter's
I'm looking at the guys that you avoided.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 of them missed. 4 of them at least missed 6+ weeks.
That's why I avoided them. What do you mean?
Do you just pick players and then go beep bop boop Trump?
I mean, just like I don't remember what player it was earlier. Oh, Daniel Jones. You're like, how do you think I knew about Daniel Jones? Yeah, I've got people out in the field, Josh. I got people that with tranquilizer fucking darts in the field ready for when it's time for me to schmooze up my list here, so I can talk like I'm hot shit at the end of the year. If you don't have that system in place, that's on you, buddy. You got to try harder.
I do, but they're just focusing on the front offices. That's how I know about Harbaugh getting out 2 minutes after it happens.
Yeah, dude, you're faster than that. Do you use a different update app than Sleep, or do you have Fantasy Life or something? Because your speed is insane.
No, usually when news like this is about to break, I will open up the tinfoil and make some little antenna helmets. And I just stand outside on the deck kind of twirling around, and I picked up someone's phone call, and it was some guy in Baltimore taking a dump, and he's just like, "You'll never guess who just came in here and sobbed on the toilet for the last hour and a half."
Oh no.
And then just apparently Harbaugh. So
the sad dumps, we've all been there. Oh my god, why am I coughing so much? Anyways, I'm sure you want to get out of here in a moment, Josh, but just real quickly, because Walters had requested it, and I do think it's interesting. You might have something to add now, or you might have something to add in the off season here, but I do have most of the responses for the CBO exit survey. Falk and Zimmel could not grace me with their time, so we'll see if they return next year. But no. So when I asked the question, do you have any fun rule or scoring setting ideas for next year, blah, blah, blah. I think this one was probably you, or you've suggested something similar to this in the past. Need to start a player 32 years or older. That's a fun one. I think we need to get away from that for a couple years just because I think there's definitely that rookie rule fatigue. But that's an interesting one. I do like the idea of starting someone super old as well. Someone said mandatory winner trades, loser same position every week, vampire style. And hold on, I need to get a drink of water. I'm so sorry. I'm dying.
It's the black lung paw.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I definitely do think at some point in the CBO, I don't know if I'll wait until year 10 or if I'll sprinkle it in somewhere sooner, but I definitely think that vampire/zombie concept is very interesting. And I definitely think we'll have to try that at some point where the losing team has to give up a player or something like that. Pay to win league. Entry fee is however much you decide to spend on the auction draft. So you pretty much set your own budget. I think that's a very interesting concept. I'm not sure how many people would be interested in that, but that could be super fun.
I don't know if I could win with a $1 team.
Some sort of Mario Kart-esque league where the last place gets boosted somehow. So some sort of like blue shell or rubber banding concept. A survivor style league can play any player at any time, but can only use them once. Rosters would have to be hidden until game times. That one pretty much sounds like it would be all spreadsheet, and I don't know how fun that would be for me, but it's a very interesting concept. If I could do that in an app somehow, I would absolutely be all over it, but assuming it was all manual by me, that does not sound very fun. Another idea was maybe everyone drops their team each week and fab on Wednesdays. I think that would be a very interesting concept. So similar to an auction draft, you just have a set budget for the whole year, and you have to drop your whole team and pick up a whole new team each week. I think that sounds pretty spicy. How does that sound to you, Josh?
That sounds like a lot of math. Yeah. Just like I could see one of two things happening. Week 5, I'm 0-5, but I still have all of my budget.
Mm-hmm.
Week 5, I am 5-0, and I have no money left.
I mean, that's the spirit of the game. I do think that's a really fun concept, though. So who knows if we'll ever execute it, but I think that's a really cool idea.
And then the playoff teams only the teams in the playoffs would be able to pick up players.
Yeah, we'd definitely, yeah. If it got, assuming we did that league, we'd have to do some sort of restrictions at that point for sure. No consolation bracket or anything like that. Another idea, points for first downs and more extreme turnover penalties, maybe a drop penalty, so just making the scoring a little bit more intense. Defensive points count for offensive players as well. Fumble recoveries, tackles. I'm not sure if that's an option in Sleeper, but that wouldn't be bad. Bonus points for QBs for completed passes that result in first downs. That'd be fine. QBs that get sacked lose points. Or a more dynamic value of rushing and receiving TDs. The longer the TD play, the more points. I would love that. And that was one of the things.
Percentage, or not a percentage, a multiplier?
I don't know. Yeah, either a multiplier or just even more incremental scoring. Because right now in Sleeper, they have like the big play bonuses for like 40 or 50 yard TDs. But just do that for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Just, I don't know if it'd have to be a multiplier. But yeah, it's some sort of dynamic. Like you get more points for bigger plays. I do enjoy that quite a bit. But again, unfortunately, I wouldn't want to do that by hand. I would want Sleeper to add that. This sounds like a Josh idea. Low score wins with no zeros. There's also the ball is the program. Fumbles -2, fumbles lost -5, interception -5, QB throws pick 6 -10. I think that's fun. Just make scoring more extreme. I do like that idea. The floor is lava. Assuming this is you, Josh, does it say pass attempt -0.7, but then a completion is 1?
Yeah, so that is definitely mine because I was like, you haven't gotten to mine yet.
Yep.
And so it's if your QB doesn't throw for 70% completion, it is negative. So if he throws 70% exact, so 7 for 10, it washes.
Sure.
But if he throws, 10 for 10, you get bonus points. If he throws, 5 for 10, you get, negative points. So it's more of an accuracy challenge.
Sure, no, but that's a fun idea. I think sometimes I worry about the longevity of this league just because I don't know how creative I can get with all these different things, because obviously there's only so many options within Sleeper, but that's a fun idea, quote unquote. The floor is lava. Every pass attempt's -7, you only get it back if you complete it. That's a fun idea. So I like that. Another idea was some type of awards ceremony, aka PowerPoint with funny awards, so like superlatives or things like that. Punishments for last place. I don't know. I don't have a huge appetite for that, but maybe if everyone in the league wanted to do it, we could figure out something. Someone said QB tackle points, and then someone else, this was not me, but someone else said get rid of the tight end and just have another flex spot. So those are some of the ideas. Anything else other than your ideas pop out to you there, Josh? Immediately, I know we don't need to go in full discussion mode right now, but anything there?
Yeah, a few of them did pop out, like the dropped ones. I will say that I did for the ball is the program, as I titled it.
Yep.
That one was definitely edited because I had it as a fumble was -5 and a lost fumble was -15.
Oh shit!
Because I like chaos like that.
Sure.
And like the quarterbacks that fumble when they get sacked, but they like pick it up right away. Or like a bad snap counts as a fumble for the quarterback.
Sure.
Just the amount of rage. Just
especially if it's the center's fault, and then fantasy managers are fucking screaming. Yeah.
Yep. But or like the pick six. So I'd seen that on Reddit, and somebody said that they have a league where if their quarterback throws a pick six, it's -100.
Jesus, that's so intense.
And I was just like, could you imagine?
I mean, that's essentially, I think at one point Jack had suggested like the golden snitch rule, where like a safety, because it's such a rare play, a safety's worth 100 points or something. But yeah, the ideas like that are fun, but I think one play that changes the result of your matchup I don't love so much, but the other stuff is fine, I think. But yeah. So those are all the ideas. I know, again, Josh wants to get out of here. It's almost 8 p.m. We've gone for almost an hour, but it's the last one for a while, so who cares? I'm sure if the Packers win the Super Bowl or are going to be in the Super Bowl, we'll get back here, but otherwise we probably won't be back until around draft time. But we appreciate you all so much for listening, specifically Al and Walt and anyone else who plays in the Champions League. If you happen to listen, if you like any of those ideas, let me know, or if those ideas spur any new ideas for you, let me know. Otherwise, we love you guys so much. We appreciate you so much for listening all year, and best of luck to everyone in their playoff bracket. I'm going to take all your money.
I haven't gotten an email from you yet.
You didn't get the email? I sent it to myself and it came through. Al, did you get the email from me?
Or maybe if you just sent it yourself.
No, I beat. Oh, Al said he got it. Oh, you should check your spam, Josh. I sent it to everyone. I sent it to 22 people earlier today, so. And I sent it to myself just as a test to make sure I got it. So maybe if it's not in your spam, let me know. But it might just the emails are coming for garsgrandgames@gmail.com. Just made a whole new email just to have it all organized.
Yeah, that's probably why. If it's a new email, it's probably got filtered through the spams. Yep. It's in the spams.
All right, I'll just have to let people know to, if you're listening, add Gars Grand Games, that email that you received it from, to your contact list or your address book, so they don't get spammed in the future. But it's out there, and spread the word, tell your friends. Let's try and run up this pool. I'm not sure if I'll ever be like Easton, who got 50 people last year, but the more the merrier. And again, we love you so much, Josh. Good luck to the Packers in the playoffs. I hope they don't do terrible and embarrass you.
Yep. Sorry, I'm reading the rules. They haven't changed, have they?
No, nothing changed. I just called it out because both you and Al were complaining at the end of last year about, if I predicted all these games right. I was just making the record very clear that this specific bracket challenge, you can play in different ones if you want, but this one's about you get the most points for predicting the Super Bowl, and then different things matter after that. But the payouts might be different if I can get the pool large enough. We'll see.
Okie dokie, artichokey, little smoky.
All right, Josh, say go Packers, otherwise it doesn't feel right.
Go Packers, and Godspeed.
Nailed it. Oh, fuck. Well, that's a season now. That was our 8th season. Can you believe you've probably been here listening the whole time? You've listened to 8 seasons of this bullshit? That shit's crazy. How are the Wolves doing? Are we winning? I want my time back. Sorry, buddy. Not get your time back. Not on my watch. Ooh, what's the score? What's the score? 49-44. All right, let's go Wolves. Awoo. Awoo, awoo. I wonder who do we think? Well, I'm going to make my Gar prediction here. Dave doesn't guarantee that Al's going to pick the Rams in his Super Bowl bracket. He hasn't submitted anything yet, but got Al picking the Rams. He says nah, but time will tell. Anywho, I'm going to stop recording now because I'm still recording. This is the Easter egg that Walters has ever wanted. It's the end of the season, so I don't really care, but we love everyone. And thanks for listening.
You have fire in your gut?